Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, we got episode 126 today.
That's right.
That's be a horror movie. That's room 126 or something. Yeah, it's got to be.
The Spirit of Nine.
Could be, yeah. So anyway, so it's good to be back here in the studio with you.
Yeah, you really, it's March Madness for you. I know you're not a basketball guy, but you got hockey playoffs last week, hockey playoffs this week, and corralled you for an hour just to do this.
Yeah, it's been really nutty. It's I've been going from refereeing to play-by-play to running my normal Saturday league to play-by-play, and then refereeing and then scorekeeping. It's like I've been all over the place. In fact, this weekend I was scheduled to do 7 rinks in 3 days. And I think that's backed off a little bit. A couple of them have been postponed, and one I was taken off the schedule. I don't know why, but I was, okay, good, take me off the schedule,
Oh, yeah.
But I'm still going to be hitting 4 or 5 rinks over the next few days.
That's a lot. Now, for those of you who don't follow Dave the rest of the way, he does play-by-play for the Cyclones.
Yeah, the Northern Cyclones in the Junior Hockey League. Yeah, and I do all 3 of their teams. They have 3 different levels up there.
And the bottom 2 teams made the playoffs, and they won their both of them won their first round series. So.
Mm-hmm. So I'll be doing games 1, 2, and possibly 3 this weekend up there for them. Saturday night, I'm doing a Junior Bruins playoff game for them on Saturday night. So I'll be bouncing around from rink to rink on Saturday, and I don't know if they'll have a game 3 on Sunday, and if they need me on that one or not. So it's just been a crazy time with that. So I haven't had a chance to record. I haven't done much in the way of videos. I slipped in some last night, but It's just been a busy time. In fact, I think I have emails and some people tag me on Facebook with a couple of questions. I just haven't had a chance to get to any of that stuff. So it's not that I'm ignoring you.
But you've been legitimately busy.
I've been just going to the rink, working and sleeping. In fact, I slept for almost like 2 days straight. I just was so tired from the weekend that I've been finding just sleeping in, getting up, doing what I have to do, and going back to bed. And today I finally feel pretty good, just in time to go and do it all again. So anyway, ways to get a hold of us, digitaltodice.com. That is the website. That's where we put all of our shows over on Spreaker. The text line, 978-751-DICE, 978-751-3423. The email, that's the best way to get a hold of us, digitaltodice@yahoo.com, and that's a T-O, not a number 2. It's a digital T-O dice at yahoo.com, just like the show. And over on Facebook, the ever-growing Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/digital2dice.
We're 9 away from 1,000.
We're 908?
991.
Oh, 991. Okay, so we're 8 away from 1,000. Oh, we're getting
there. Or some hidden highway in Springfield, Massachusetts, 991. But yeah.
yeah. So we're getting there. Yeah, that's the ever-growing group over there. Boy, so what do you think? Should we get into, we haven't done what we're playing in some time, so.
It's been a couple weeks.
All right, here we go.
And you'll notice that when I did the solo show, I didn't talk about what I was playing, so I could share it with you.
Yes. All right. Well, then why don't you fire it off? Go first.
All right. Let's see. So my 85 Major League Replay using Action PC has now gone to a advanced day-by-day basis until we get real baseball again. And that could be – they could have a deal by the time this gets posted. One of the major hurdles in the lockout was cleared this morning, and so I think we're close. We're close. So the world's newest baseball fan, Mr. Gardner, may actually get to see baseball by mid-April.
That's the weird thing here is I'm in a baseball phase. Last year at this time I was basketball, I think it was. This year I'm in a baseball phase. I'm like playing a lot of baseball, and it's like maybe I should watch some baseball and learn a little bit about the game, and there's no baseball.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't want to watch spring training baseball anyway. It's as someone who had to cover it for a couple of years. Oh my, there's nothing worse. Anyway, so we are now June 10th was the day that we just played. So Monday, June 10th, did a few Blue Jay games, did the Cardinals and the Mets. That's all going swimming. Well, the last 2 days have been tremendous baseball. The Blue Jays twice yesterday against the Tigers, who were in second place in the American League East. Toronto had a runner on third and less than 2 outs twice and could not bring him in. That is just so frustrating because I believe the chances of scoring from third with less than 2 outs is 75%. It is a really, really high. Because you can bring them home on a ground ball to second, a sac fly, any variety of reasons.
Yep.
And they couldn't score them twice, and it would have been the difference. And today, they played back in the mid-'80s. The division rivals really didn't play until June, especially in the American League. And so today was the first meeting of the year between the Blue Jays and the Yankees. And the Yankees got 2 solo shots in the bottom of the 8th to win 2-0. So, playoff type baseball in early June. I mean, that's always good because, as Johnny Smoke said, I've had a terrible run of blowouts. And, so, thankfully we do these live and the crowd, we'll get chatty, but here's not much point. What, a 7-0 game in the 5th is going to, miracles don't happen. This isn't football. So I've been going with that. My Red Sox 77 replay is pretty much hit halfway. Did a video about that. I hate your Atlanta Hawks, by the way. I don't know what it is about the Atlanta Hawks.
Don't know.
Playing now, the Celtics replay, I've played the first 20 from 85, 86, and that's been a blast in Stratomatic because they are so good. But when Kevin McHale is out, and McHale will miss 13 games in the regular season. I think he's missed 4 or 5. And Bill Walton just can't score. Now, the control for that in Stratomatic is when you look at the shot and a roll, it's either an X, an O, and Peter Marshall and Paul Lynn aren't involved in that, or a blank spot, or an R, or a foul. And so the X is a made shot, and O is a made shot on an open shot. A blank is Gene Rayburn. No, it's a missed shot, and an R is a replay. So even if you have the open shot, the person that's supposed to take it will make a pass, and more time comes off the clock. And there's a lot of R's on Bill Walton's card.
Oh, yeah, just kind of resetting the play.
Just trying to, so it resets the play. And so there's a couple times, coming off the bench, he's fine because he can draw a lot of fouls too. But when you're starting and you're trying to replace Kevin McHale's 20 points a night with Walton's 5, so we've reached the point where the Celtics beat Portland, which was their only home loss. In fact, they beat them by 20. That was delightful. So I'm kind of wondering if we'll get to the point where they just won't lose at all at home. But the next game was against Atlanta. And the Celtics won 94-90. But it was really in the first Celtics home win that was really in question till the very end. Because Bird didn't have it was, again, loving that. And my Islanders replay has hit 50 games. And we've moved up from being 7th or 8th in that first round to 5th because the Islanders have lost 1 since Christmas, and we are now into early February. So that's where that replay is. What else? Oh, again, that we'll talk about next week as we kind of go into Game Hounds mode, or the next time you and I get together. I did a pre-order on Distant Worlds 2. Which is a 4X space game. Conquer, pretty much, run your little mini universe. And so that actually was released this morning on Steam, and I've been a good boy and haven't played it yet. So I got that. I love those type of games, space operas essentially, and you can automate a lot of it. So ship design and all that. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with that. So that's it, along with Gems. That's pretty much what I've been playing. A lot of it enjoyable, of course. But yeah, that's been pretty much it.
I think in the limited amount of time I've had to play, I'm playing mostly Strat PC Baseball. I'm really, really taken to that game.
Yep. And you figured out how to do the pictures.
Yeah, you told me how to. You told me how to do that, so I went in and did that. It was fairly simple, getting the pictures in there. Just dropping them into the folder, and you got to change the text file, and it worked pretty well. There was a couple of players that didn't show up, and I went in and figured out how to fix their thing to get them to show up. So that was good. I'm enjoying the pictures more than I thought. Usually I don't use player pictures in games, but lately I have, and in certain circumstances I do like them, and this is one of those that I do like them.
They're a nice size, too.
Yeah, they're good size. Yeah, so I've been playing the 86 season. I've been playing the Roger Clemens games. I wanted to see how well Clemens would do in 86 compared to his real stats, and he's getting clubbed. He is getting clubbed like a seal in this replay. And I've played a lot of them on YouTube. So, somebody asked, maybe I'm playing the game wrong. It's like, well, I'm on the computer. I don't know how much wrong I can do on the computer. And a lot of times I was rolling my own dice and entering the dice rolls. I wasn't even managing the team, but just he's giving up a home run a game. He's getting rocked. He's getting first game of the season. Chicago destroyed him, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, someone wrote to me last week over, I think it was I did the strat video for halfway through my replay. And he said, dice are the great equalizer, the best laid plans. And again, if you did that Clemens replay 20 times, there's going to be one that's going to be as disastrous as what you've had. And there'll be one where he is absolutely completely unhittable. Like, oh my God, you can't be that good.
He gets a lot of strikeouts. I will say that is, I'll look down and he'll have 8, 9, 10 strikeouts in the game, but he'll lose it 3-2. And many times he's gone into the 10th inning pitching and then lost it. And so it's just I've lost many different ways, and some are just blowouts, but a lot of times it's a close game. He's lost a lot of close games, is what it is. And don't get me wrong, it's been very enjoyable, and it's allowed me to learn how to play the game, and I'm getting a little bit better at advanced and super advanced strat PC baseball or strat baseball in general, as I'm learning a little bit about ballpark effects and things like that, stuff I didn't know anything about. But the computer handles a lot of it, and it's very, very fun. And I rolled my own dice for a long time, and now I think I'm mostly letting the computer do it. And if I let the computer roll the dice, I can play a game so fast.
Yes.
And I almost feel guilty how fast I play. In fact, we were talking earlier today, and I was like, I'm playing a game in I'm ripping through a game in 10 or 15 minutes, and is that bad? Am I even enjoying the game at that point because I'm playing it so fast? But I kind of am. I mean, I'm playing the whole game. It's not like I'm skipping ahead. It's just, click on the dice. Okay, line drive out. Click on the dice. It's a fly ball. Click on the dice. Strike out. Next inning. That's how fast it goes. And I guess I shouldn't feel bad about it because I am seeing every at bat, and but it's been very fun. I wish there was a hockey game that did that. Because the Strat PC hockey game. Even if I take away some of the board game info, now you're missing out on the game.
Well, the other thing with baseball is it's everything has an end result. So I mean, yes, okay, so you could bunt or hit and run or steal and have one thing lead to another, but in baseball, everything has an end result. Same with football. You either run the ball for 3 yards, or you have the complete pass, or the punt, or the incomplete, or whatever. In hockey and basketball, there's so much back and forth that once it's not everything leads to a shot. You got some decisions you got to make there. Do I want to penetrate? Do I want to pass? Do I want to shoot? Got to roll off this. I got to check the defense on that. And so that kind of, it would be hard to do a full hockey game that is a full play game in that amount of time. Now, of course, there's shootout, which you're quite familiar with, that can get you that in 15 minutes. But again, you're just going from scoring chance to scoring chance, as opposed to, that's one of the reasons why I think baseball remains so popular on the tabletop, is because you can resolve it a lot faster. It's one of the time it takes to play some of these games. I can play 3 games in an hour, or I might be able to play one hockey game in there. Again, there's no wrong answer, but that's why.
Yep. So I've been enjoying that, learning that. I've been learning. I get a nice little setup going on. I learned how to set up my screen and move things around, and even learned how to change the colors of some of the backgrounds in this game. One of the things is when you look at the guys that are up at bat, I think it's like white, red, and light blue on a light brown background, and I could never see the red, and so I went into Photoshop and I darkened the image, and I put it back in the game, and now I can read everything a little bit better. So it's been fun moving the boxes around and putting things in place where I want them to be. And so I've really kind of enjoyed that aspect of. There's more customization in Strat PC than I thought there was going to be. And in fact, you talk about second chances. We talk about second chances a lot here on the show. I never really had a first chance with this game, but I guess watching people play it, and I think I mentioned here on the show, I don't know if I'd really like the Strat PC baseball game. I liked the football and the hockey and even the basketball to a certain extent. But the baseball, to me, I just don't know if I would like it. And I think it's my favorite out of the four right now. And so I'm kind of glad that I gave it a chance, and I'm really enjoying that. In fact, I think once things settle down, I'm going through this 86 replay with Clemens really fast. I think I played 6 or 7 games last night. I think I streamed 2 of them.
Wow.
I think I streamed 2 on YouTube, had a chat, we just chatted, and then afterwards I think I played 3 or 4 more before I went to bed because that's how quick they were playing. And so I'm already into early August with that, so I don't know how many more starts he's going to have before I wrap up the season. And I want to get that done because I want to pick up 1975, and I want to play the Reds in the National League, and I want to play the A's in the American League. And at the same time, to have the option of playing that World Series with Boston and Cincinnati is something I'm going to do anyway. So maybe I'll do that first, and then I'll do the season. But I think I started playing baseball, and it was either 75 or 76. That's when I started playing baseball because I was, like I said, I was the hockey guy, and, street hockey was my game. And then when I started playing organized baseball, then I started buying the baseball cards and watching the teams. And I was getting to a point, I was 10 at that time, so I was able to watch it. So 75 is like just before I started collecting the baseball cards, but I still know everybody. So I have 77. So I think I'm going to get 75, and that's the teams are going to play is the Reds in 75 and the A's in 75 in the American. And I'll probably play some sporadic games here and there for fun, but that's the season I'm going to go with, I think. And that's going to be my big one. I'm going to probably end up picking up 80. I think I have to just because that's my favorite season for some reason.
And that's been recently redone.
Yeah, so I'll definitely pick up that at some point. So I'll get 75 and 80 and get going on that. I think I'm going to pick up a couple of seasons for APA baseball and the cards. I think I'm going to pick up 75 on the cards too to have that option because I have it on PC Replay too, so I could play the APA and score it on the PC Replay if I wanted to.
You could do it in Strat as well.
Yeah, I could do that too. I want to try that at some point too. I think it's a little faster with PC Replay, and I'm used to it.
I'm sure it's more intuitive. But.
Yeah, the Strat one, I seen somebody do it on a YouTube video, and it didn't seem hard. It just seemed to be a little more cumbersome maybe than the mouse clicking of the PC Replay, but I guess I'd have to try to see which one I got faster. But so if I got 75, I could play 75 APA in PC Replay and the whole bit. So I've been playing mostly baseball. I really have been. I haven't even used my new hockey dice tray yet. I haven't found a game to use that. It's like, Strat is, I suppose I could use it for Strat, but, they use a lot of fast action cards. APA's dice, but it's a long game, and I'd have to set that up. So I don't have like a mid-play game. Shootout, I usually use fast action cards too. So I don't know what hockey game I have. I mean, it'd have to be a quick play game, I would imagine. Unless I set up APA, which I still want to do, but it's not going to happen at least for another couple of weeks with my schedule. That's what's happening now. But anyway, so that's what's happening over here. And so again, I looked at what purchases I'm going to make next, and that's kind of a segue into what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about price point. What's your price point? For a game, and we're talking about budgets and the price of games and what are you willing to pay, and so we're going to talk about the cost of games today, and how we justify a purchase or we justify not making a purchase. So should we get into the topic of the day?
Let's do it.
So we started talking about the cost of games, seasons, things like that, because you got everything from free games. You got games that you buy and it comes with everything, all the seasons and everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's some tremendous value out there.
Oh, yeah. And this goes for PC games as well as, PDFs. You can download a PDF. Some are free and some are fairly inexpensive. And the same with PC games. You can get a free PC game or you can get a game that's pretty inexpensive, and it comes with all the seasons. There are some that, you have to buy every year. There's some you don't. And there's also some that you have to buy individual seasons. Sometimes you can get a decade of seasons on sale, and other times you got to buy them one at a time, and it's it can get quite expensive. So we're going to talk about that today, is price points of games, because let's face it, some of these games, like even the Strat PC Baseball I just bought, I was up well over $100 getting started in that game. And then I want to buy a season. It's going to be, $28 to get a season if I want to play that there. If I want to get another APA baseball season with the cards and the dice, it's going to be, $78 plus shipping if I want to do that.
And that's for the older season. I mean, one of the things that came up with someone was, talking to both of us about the current, the season that just passed in baseball. And with the extra cards, if he wanted to do a full season project, even a single team full season project, it was $153 before shipping.
Yeah, the newest season, to get all the cards. It's that
to get all the cards.
Yep. So let's talk about that a little bit. So obviously you got some games that are free or nearly free. You're talking, $5, $10, $15 to get a game.
Right.
And you don't need to do anything else. Maybe you just print them out on the PC, maybe just play them. And some of these games are fine games. They really are. And even if you just play them a few times, you've justified your purchase.
Yeah, and I don't think in any of these is you get what you pay for. I think it comes down to, what you want for experience. And I also think because of the way computers are, we get spoiled on some of the offers that we have there. You buy a game like Out of the Park or Second and 10, and you get everything for one price.
Yep.
And now if you like Out of the Park and want to buy the new season, you usually have to buy the new edition, because I don't think that the new editions of the database go with the older ones.
Right.
But a game like Second and 10, we were able to play the playoffs in the full regular season before the Super Bowl, and it was not an additional cost. Just download this patch. And again, there's no wrong answer to that. And other things such as Stratomatic, if you want to buy the new season or the new retro seasons, which in this case was 47 and the redo of 86, you got to buy the new version of that game every time that there's a new season that you want. Now, granted, for your price of that, you get the new season. And so it's not always, you don't have to do it every year. But yes, the point you're making is that you can go from the freebie games to the more advanced ones, and
you can end up spending
a lot,
hundreds of dollars, or even $1,000 or more on a game if you keep buying it every year, and then you have seasons and you buy any kind of extras that come with the software. Sometimes they offer extra stuff or whatever. So there is an entry level price point for some of these games that can get quite expensive. Now, if you break down how much you think you're going to play it and boil it down to maybe a per game cost, sometimes that really puts things in perspective.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so I'm looking at this right now. So I spent, all that money on the Strat PC, including in the 86 season. I get probably 25 or 30 games into that. Mm-hmm. And I'm addicted to this game. I will easily, once I stop playing some other season, I know I got to buy another season, but I will easily probably get in 100 to 150 games of Strat Baseball this year, I would imagine, if I'm going at my current pace. That's how much I'm enjoying this game. So if I spent $150, am I getting $1 worth of enjoyment out of every game that I play? That's kind of how I look at that. That's kind of how I'm justifying that. Now, again, if I look at Pocket Pennant Run, where I spent $10 on that. If I played 150 games of Pocket Pennant Run, now I'm at pennies a game. So I get that there. Okay, I happen to really, really like the Strat PC baseball game. I'm glad I got it, and as you can tell, that's all I'm playing right now. So I will get my money out of that one way or another. Some of the other games I bought in a lot of PC games. I have a bunch of cards and dice games I haven't played much with, and so my value on that, even if I only spent $50 to $100, I might have played 3 games. So now I'm at $30 a game just to play that particular sport or game or whatever it is. It doesn't matter which one it is at this point. But I just some games I just play more than others. There's some I buy to check out, like what's all the hubbub, and sometimes I love it and sometimes I don't. But we've all done that. We've all bought a game and either we never played it for one reason or another, or we tried it and didn't like it, or it just wasn't like our favorite game, or for whatever reason we never played it.
You're a sampler anyway, so you are the golden corral of gamers. If it's on you. So if it's like yes, you. To be fair, if you like, I want to try that, you'll do that, which is. I mean, some will do that with a specific sport. I mean, you're not the only one that does that. But if you're going to, let's say, someone on a gaming budget, how do you spend that money, or what kind of experience do you get? There's going to be some trial and error, because if you're on a budget and let's say want to get into the full history of baseball, well, then there's Out of the Park, because you get everything for the one price. But if you don't like the way that it plays for certain things, then you're going to keep exploring in that. Others, maybe like, look, I'm only a casual fan of A, B, and C, and so I'm going to take that splurge money and go into the one sport that I'm going to get the most out of it. Obviously, for me, it's baseball. How you're going to try some of other things, but for instance, I don't own 9 boxing games. I own 1. I like it. I just did another video on it. So that would be the only money I would spend on that particular sport. And you know what? By the time the next winter rolls around and it's updated again or whatever, I'll get my money's worth out of it, because I can control the purchases of that. I have the main game and all that. There's also, of course, the manufacturers want you to buy new games every year. And because of what I do outside of this podcast, I feel like I'm supposed to do that just out of obligation to show things off. I'll tell you how many games of action PC hockey and basketball I've played. 0. In fact, I haven't even bought the new basketball game. I just, I found other things to do that with, and I spent my gaming monies into right now. I feel the way about Strat basketball that you do about Strat baseball. I really have enjoyed the time that I've spent with it. I can make it work for me, and so money really isn't much of an issue with that. I took advantage of a couple of their pre-Christmas sales and stocked up on seasons, and so I've got enough now to keep me quite happy for quite a while. And again, since I'm really not a huge fan of modern pro basketball, and I have most of the seasons that I would have, unless they redo something that I really want, they're not going to get that $47 from me for the new game and the $20 for the card image and whatever season, because I'm content with that. That's the thing, is I'm content with the experience that I have. Is it can it be pricey? Yes, but again, down to your point, if because I think we know when the first few handful of games in a project, how far you're really going to go with that project. And again, there's no deadline for how fast you have to finish it. I will get the 85, 86 Celtics seasons done, and I may not touch it for 2 or 3 months, and then I'll go for a week and I'll play 7 games, So again, if that season was $27, I think, before the price increase, and so I got $90 set up into it, not only is it $1 a game, but the fun and the excitement of going back and forth with you about those Atlanta Hawks or whatever it is. You certainly get into it. I mean, there's a kid that comes in the morning that helps me get up. He's a huge DC Marvel superhero movie fan. Okay, so he's one of the ones that would go to the theater to pay for the experience. Okay, and so it's $13 just to get into the door. Okay, at night. Now he's 20 and he doesn't know any better. Okay, so it's $13 to get in. It's $9 for a popcorn, $5 for a soda,
a small soda.
Yeah, and I didn't even ask him about if he gets the Jujubes or the Good and Plenty's or the M&Ms.
Right.
And so you're talking for a 3-hour experience if you go to see the new Batman movie.
$30 or $40, yeah.
$30 or $40 for that. Now, for him, it is absolutely worth it. For my wife and I to have a nice meal delivered to the house, it is absolutely worth spending $40 to get decent Mexican shipped here from across town, because you pay for the tip and you pay for the driver, and again, that's not a complaint, but if it makes so that she doesn't have to do anything and you can just sit on the couch and eat her food and watch what she watches, it's worth it. It's worth it. So go back to the gaming thing, is like sticker shock on, you really want me to spend this and this and this when I know I can get that for a lower price. I think it goes back to what you feel about the sport and what you find comfortable. And again, it kind of goes with me kind of picking on you about the Golden Corral thing. I'll take a little bit of this and a little bit of Inside Sports and some Play.com and blah, 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 blah. But once you find what you like and what you're comfortable with, then go with it. I actually have been playing some Action PC Golf. I've made my own card and can go around the course. I think I paid $30 for that. But again, 20 minutes, half hour to play and get frustrated at what you do and can't do, it's worth it in the end compared to the things that we have to spend money on, such as housing.
Yeah. I also find, too, that sometimes, like I have a ton of Apple hockey seasons. I will never get my value out of that because I just spent so much on it and I just don't play it nearly enough. However, when I sit down, if I look up behind me and I say, okay, I get the itch to play something from, 72, and I'm going to pull out 2 teams and do a one-off or do a playoff series, I get so much enjoyment out of that game that, to me, even though I get hundreds of dollars into the Apple cards that I've, over the years, I should add, this was not like a weekend thing. It was over the years that I built that up. I will get so much enjoyment out of that for me, that purchase was worth it for me. Okay, now if I break it down to what I spent per game, it's not going to be very good, and I don't want to do that. But again, even if it was like $25 a game, I feel like when I play an Apple hockey game, I get my $25 out of that because I just enjoy it so much.
You've talked about before, you get the feeling from that game that you're sitting,
I'm exhausted when I'm done that game.
At rank level, and you can see everything that's gone on. And for those of us who pay for sports packages, I mean, I can't imagine now what it would cost to go to the Garden to get a decent seat for a Bruins game. So a pair of those are going to be what, $150, $200?
Got to be $100. It's a seat right now.
Right. And so, because they're good and there's a high demand for them. And so you got to get there. And what's the parking garage cost? How close can you get?
I don't think people park there anymore because I think it's got to be $40 or $50 to park.
All right. So if you're going, so you're talking $200 just to get in the door and park the car or take the tee down there. And then that doesn't include any adult beverages that you might consume while watching said game. And
right,
what is that, $8-9 at least?
I think it's going to be 10 or 12 for a beer.
So
hamburgers are probably $14.
Right. Oh, at least.
So yeah, I mean you're looking at a $300 or $400 night if you want to go to a hockey game here in Boston.
Right. But you get the full experience out of it, and maybe you and Sharon get on the Kiss Cam, and then we can kind of forget about that for the rest of our lives. But in all seriousness, again, I remember hitting one of Cook's Christmas sales, and I think I got 50 years of baseball for $150. That was one of the few purchases that actually had to clear through the First National Bank of Wifey. But again, just to have it there, I mean, that's even with just data, it's there. Do you use it or not? No. $3 a season? Okay. Yeah, you're going to get your money's worth out of that. So even if you don't touch 30 of the 50 seasons, you pull out a project or whatever. But that gets back to my point. Once you find a sport that you really want to do and find an engine that you like, then yes, the rest of the money kind of comes easy. And yes, I think you do get a good return of your investment. And for some people, it's going to be the second and tens, the pocket pennant runs, the OOTPs. That's exactly the experience that you want. You're able to do what you want. You get everything all at once. And it's a tremendous value. And for others, if you are a longtime player of Strat or APA and you want that experience, then yes, for the APA cards for 2021, $153 before shipping.
Yeah, but again, if you think you're going to do a full season replay of 162 games, that's $1 a game.
It's $1. It's $1 a game, and the memories are priceless because although we are pretty much all solitaire players, whatever happens in your head, there are going to be some games that you remember from that. And so, yes, from a cost point of view, yeah, it's $1 a game, but
I think everybody, like I said, there's all these different things we're juggling in the air right now. We're juggling in, the value of the game, the cost per game after you break it down. But everything has its personal value to you. I mean, there's games that I've spent a lot of money on that you haven't, and you're like, there's no way I'd spend money on a game like that. And I've done the same with you. You've spent, I spent $100 on this. I get all the seasons. It's like I would never play that game. So that's that's $100 for me personally. I'd rather spend my $100 and buy another season of Apple Hockey that I might play 3 games or 4 games of. I don't know. So we're juggling all these different things in the air. Myself, I tend to binge on a game, and right now I'm binging on Strat PC Baseball, and so by the time I'm done binging on this, I will have got, again, to say I got my money's worth, that's all very subjective, by the way, anyway, Right. But to say that I've gotten enough value out of my purchase, I absolutely will feel I can say that. And then I'll binge on to the next game, and I'll go to whatever it is I'm going to play next, and I'll play the heck out of that game. And I'll be like, oh, man, I'm so glad I bought this. And so we have all these things we're juggling, and to everybody's value, it's different. And and again, going back to the Golden Corral, yeah, I do like to try different games. And obviously, doing the podcast here, I can't just play one game and talk about that.
You have to know, absolutely.
I'm obligated to do different games, maybe even buy the newest game, or at least try the newest game, so we can talk about it here on the show. But I remember buying video games. $60 for the base hockey game, $20 if you want to add anything fun to that hockey game, and then it's $90 or $100 if you want to buy all the coins and all the everythings in it. So games went from
they hook you into that too.
Yeah, you don't want to buy the base game. You always got to spend the extra $20. You're spending $80 on the new game because you don't want to be the guy without this. You don't necessarily have to spend the $100 because a lot of times it's a lot of just cosmetics that I don't really care about, or it's that hockey ultimate team. It's just like the Madden ultimate team, and I don't play that, so I don't need packs of cards. I just want to play the game. I can honestly say, right up until a couple of years ago, I bought a new hockey game probably since 1992, but the Sega Genesis. Every year I bought a new hockey, and if they had 2 or 3 different hockey games, I would get them all. In fact, they're all behind me here. You can see me. I have probably pretty much every hockey game for the most part that come out, and I played them. But recently, the $60 and $80 hockey games that I got for my PlayStation 4, did I play 10 games? Maybe. So for $60 or $80, I played it 6 times.
I remember paying for the first NHL 97. Was that the first year for the PS1? Okay. Playing on the Genesis. Like the Genesis games, a little less each year. think 95, I think was the first one. I loved it. And so got it for the PlayStation, the original one. And it was too complex. I couldn't figure out how to score. And so like, oh, really? And so that was $45-$50 wasted. Mm-hmm. Buying less and less because like, the Triple Play series, the EA baseball game. And the first time you got it for the PlayStation, okay, this is great. But when they didn't change the play-by-play from year to year, like, no, you've got a whole new thing. You can record all that.
Well, they said that about Madden, too. Every year, Madden was just a roster update. You'd pay $60, $80, or $100 for it, and you wouldn't get anything different out of it. I would buy Madden every other year so I could at least get 2 years of updates and see the difference, but every year was just a small update.
We do all the virtual, or I do all the virtual unboxings of Dave Cook's games. And it always comes across that I'm very frustrated at the end. Now, I pay whatever the price is, the upgrade price, use their gift certificate. So the baseball one, I paid $3.63 for. It was wonderful. And you just can't tell. And so you go, oh, Ron, you're frustrated with this. I said, well, yes and no, because I'm not quite sure what we got new for the money. But by the time that you play it, 2 or 3 weeks, okay, yep, I get it. I understand that now. And I just kind of go, and I think it kind of, and I also think there's pressure on all the manufacturers to get something new out the door every year. And do you need to do that every year for most of you? If your favorite sport is baseball or football, and your favorite game is Strat or Action PC or something that does update every year, then no, spend the money on it every year to keep up to date, because you want that. You get the new season. But if you were, let's say, a casual basketball fan and you have something, and whether it's Strat and like, no, I really have the 4 seasons I want, and unless they redo it, I'm not buying it again. Or Action PC, we're like, no, I have the entire 1980s. I'm never going to play anything besides that. Yes, every other year, like, oh, wow, yeah, you've done a lot. Yeah, so to get back to your point, so, but on let's just say a niche game, I think the most I ever spent on a game was $198. And I played the bejeez amount of it. I did it twice. I did it with the ASG Golf. You only got the one course with it, but you had all the decade sets. So you virtually got all the cards for that on the intro. There might have been more than one course, too. And I did that with the time travel tennis. I got all the decades, all the sets for that came out in there. And so, yeah, I knew, but again, you're taking that risk of this investment that I'm going to make to play this game. Is it going to be worth it to me? And, I've been lucky that both the times that I've sat there and spent the big money on the game, it was a game that I loved. But again, there's always some risk involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say I bought games and I've never touched them, or I played one and just never get back to them. And but going back to it again, it's different value. I mean, you spent the couple $100 on the golf or the tennis or both, whatever it was, and you've if you've played 10 games of that, to you at $20 a game, you gladly would pay that. I loved it for $20. I would actually pay that. And there's other games that you got, and you're like, wow, no, $20 is not a value for me for this game. I just didn't have $20 worth of fun.
Yeah, there's a couple times for people who no longer make games that I have felt ripped off about. The games that clearly were not ready for prime time release. One was a Christmas present, and I was furious with it because that was what I asked for.
I don't think that I have ever purchased anything, at least the cards and dice or the PC variety, that I felt like I got ripped off. I think there's some that I agree that felt a little bit unfinished. I've gotten some enjoyment out of every single game I played. There are still some that I've purchased that I have not played yet. I've read the instructions, or I just haven't got to it, or maybe I played a a quarter or a period or something like that. So there's still a few that I have sitting here over here in my rack that I need to go and get back to. But even then, I don't think I ever felt like I get ripped off or I got gypped or anything in any of the games I played. There's just, but again, it's you buy a game and you don't know. You might like it, you might love it. The whole Strat PC baseball. For the longest time, I didn't buy it because I didn't think I'd like it. And I bought it, and, if I bought it and I spent over $100 on it and I didn't like it, I'm bumming. I'm bumming because it's like, man, I'm not going to ever play this because I just don't like it. Turns out that I do like it. There's some games that I've spent, a little bit of money on, not a lot, 20, 30, 25 bucks, whatever it was. Just don't like it. Just for me, just not my cup of tea. But I don't feel like anybody, I don't feel like I've ever been sold something that it wasn't what I was expecting. It's just I happen to just not like this particular game,
and that's perfectly okay. And the thing is, you don't go back. If you don't like the clam dip, don't go buy another thing of clam dip. That's the thing, and don't feel like. One of the things that I alluded to this before, kind of feel guilty about because that's what we do on the channel is I think you and I make sure that we go out and buy the newest and not the shiniest, but the newest editions of this and the newest editions of that and go through and show them off. And, sometimes, finish line like, do we really need to, yeah, you do because it's, because it's what we do, but it's like, don't feel like you need to do this every year if that's an issue for you. If you're perfectly happy with what you got, you don't buy a new car every year. Even if you lease a car, you have it for 2 or 3 years. If there's something that you see that you liked for a new feature, absolutely, then go ahead and get it. So this isn't a case of you should never feel like when you're buying games that you're trying to keep up with the Joneses per se.
There's some of the PC games I have that I didn't buy last year. And then this year I plan on buying.
Right.
So it all depends. Like I say, it all depends. I don't usually play the modern season, so I'm not going to miss it. But if there was some updates to the game that I felt was worth my, my buy, then I'll buy it. If not, then I'll just continue to play the old one, And the same goes for, for seasons. I look at some of the seasons like, oh, man, do I really want to spend this amount of money on a season? And then I try to think, okay, will I play 5 games? Will I play 10 games? Will I play 50 games? How many games do I got to play to make this purchase worth it for me? And, I guess, for me, it's depending on the game, I get a lot of enjoyment out of some games and I get some enjoyment out of other games. And that all depends because a lot of people are right. When I was talking about, the Strat PC that I get into or even when I was going through the app of baseball and stuff, there were some people say, "Wow, it's a lot of money to get involved in this game." And if you're just starting out, and I agree, you're exactly right. It's not a $10 or $20 buy. It's if you want to get the game in a season, it's probably going to be $100.
I think the entry level for a game I think is the hardest part. And one of the things that we read over and over and over again is I want. You have friends that you've introduced to some games. People have grandkids they want to introduce to some games. This isn't paper route money anymore.
No.
When you could buy a new set of APA or Strat for $15-$20, or maybe you get it for Christmas. When you're looking at $75-$80 for
it's real money. It's real money.
It's kind of hard to sit there and go, this is exciting, and to do that every year. But on the other hand, if you're a veteran of said game and something new comes out and that you play it, then yes, it's kind of like an expansion pack for a video game.
Oh yeah, you buy the video game for $300, $400, $500, and then you buy every year. You spend $60 or $80 on the new sports game. It's kind of the same thing. The initial investment is going to be high, but once you have that console, you don't need to buy it again.
The other thing is that there are so many good games out there right now that if you find one that you like. Let's say that your pocket pen scratches every itch that you have. Maybe a $10 rebuy next year if they come up with some of the new things that they're working on, and you wouldn't have to, and you get all the enjoyment out of that, a full play game for a lower price. Lower price does not mean lower quality. Mm-hmm. And that's a full play game. You have to go through every at bat. And look, if you like Strat in a draft league or whatever, or if you just want a lot of people just want the feel of a card and cards in their hands. They work with computers all day. They don't want to be going home and playing on Excel. They did Excel all day at work. They did PowerPoint all day at work. The last thing I want to do is this again, just to get away from it all. And again, there is something about, and I think you're understanding a little bit more about this now because you do a lot more with cards and dice, just the excitement and the feel of looking at a new card.
Yeah.
Especially for the hockey. It's like, where's the strikeouts on the Clemens card? We compared, we spent some time one night. You showed me the new Clemens card. I showed you the original Clemens Super Advanced card. It's going through. Ooh, this is different. Oh, this should work. I mean, there's this kind of, once you know how the engine works, it's kind of there. And I think people want to feel, the dice in their hand, the cards on the table, the charts everywhere. It just kind of goes, yes. And once you buy, for, a pure card and dice game, you have all the basics. If you've worn out the charts, you can always buy a new set of charts or a new book for APA or whatever. That's always there. You're just making that same $55, $60 purchase every year again, like with the video games. But you're going to get, it's separating out the cards or putting the cards in the envelope and go, he got what? Where?
But again, if you want a less expensive game, they're out there. The shootout, I think it's $5 for a shootout hockey season. It's something maybe $10 top, something like that. They're really not that expensive. You got all your Downey games that are fairly inexpensive. Sometimes seasons are $5, $10, $15 depending on what game you get on that. So there's different games out there, and again, there's no wrong. Your price point is not going to be the next guy's price point. And it's not going to be the next guy's price point because everybody has their favorite game. And there's some people that would say, I would spend $200 on this game and love every minute that they spent with it. There's other people that are like, I wouldn't give you $10 for that. And neither one of them's wrong. It all depends on what you like, what you want to play. Where's your enjoyment from? And we'll wrap it up with this right here. Sure. I was watching the Replay Gamer play a baseball game the other night. And I forget which one it was, but it was cards and dice on the table. And I think he was playing American League. I think it was like Milwaukee, Detroit or something like that. But anyway, he looked at this guy's card because he had to check something. Then he looked at this guy's card and he just says, I love this game. And I love that I'm playing these guys. And that right there is a priceless moment.
Yes.
It's priceless. He's playing those teams. If he spent $100 on that season and whatever he spent in that moment, he stopped the game he was playing. And I remember he just held up one of the cards. He's just like, this is so neat that I'm playing a game with this guy in it. And he stopped. He just stopped the game. And you could tell that he was just in the moment, enjoying this. Nothing else was going on in the world at that point. He stopped, and I forget what card it was. He's like, this is awesome. This guy's playing in this game, and I just checked to see if he got a hit or whatever it was, or this pitcher got a strikeout. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And at that point there, the price point is priceless. It really is. He got his money's worth in that moment alone. That whatever he spent on that game, he got it right there. And then he went on to finish the game. But that's kind of how it is with me with some of my games. Is I will play, no matter what it is, whether it's on the PC, whether it's cards and dice, no matter what the sport. How many times did I play that PC Replay Baseball and I rolled the 666 and Fred Lynn had the walk-off home run
from Freddie Lynn, absolutely.
Yep. So I look at that game. I spent $25 on the season, and the game was $50, whatever it was. That there, I'm gonna talk about that home run for a long time. That was a very memorable moment, and that's money well spent because I have that memory and I had the enjoyment of that game and people enjoyed it with me and I shared that. And I think that's what it's all about. So when everyone has their own price point, and at some point, some of these games just become priceless. They really do.
The memories that you do, you build around them for sure. The other thing is too, so many games have videos now. If you're on the fence about, will I get enough out of this game to make it worth my while on an entry-level video? I mean, most of us have videos on a lot of these games. And you can, again, I know that with the Play.com games, you've made the point of saying that the experience is very different and better than what you can show in a video. But at least you can get a hand on how the game works and whether you think it might work for you. There's a hidden basketball channel, and I can't remember the guy's name now, but he was showing off a game called Mickey's Fast Break.
Okay, I've heard of that one, yeah.
Yeah, I have too. There's a pretty good replay right now on the Delphi board. Someone is doing 83, 84, I think it is. And so I found a video. I was looking that up to see if that was there, and it just was. I liked how it was laid out. It was fast action driven, and then depending on that, then you roll the dice. And how the cards were laid out and all that. But yes, I mean, you can pretty much get a sense of, look, I'm tempted to buy, let's say, the Strat PC Baseball, but I want to be able to see, do I think I'm going to get my money's worth out of this? And you can now take a look to see, okay, here's we're going to play this for you. We're going to play it the way that we want to play it, which maybe isn't the way how you want to play it, but you're going to be able to get a good look to see whether or not it's worth it.
Yeah.
But yes, the priceless moments in the game, absolutely, and that's great.
But and sometimes you're wrong because there's some games I watch people play videos of. It's, oh yeah, I'm going to love it. And there's other games like the Strat PC Baseball where it says, I don't know if I'm going to like this game. I don't know why. I'm just not liking what I'm seeing. But when I sat down in front of me and I had it in front of me and I played it and I played a season that I wanted to play, I said, I like this game and I like it a lot. And it's growing on me and I'm learning how to, play it and add the pictures and move things around. And I really made it mine. And that was a huge part of Strat. And Strat is not known for making it yours. Not like some of the other games that you can really put in change.
At least they don't advertise.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in those games. So anyway, we want to know what your price point, is, do you have that priceless moment in the game and you're like, hey, I don't mind spending this money in this game? Or are you more like, no, I'm all about value and I won't buy a game that I have to buy seasons for, $15 or $30 a season, So, I mean, the good thing is once you buy the season, you have it. So it's not like you have to keep buying it. So and the other thing that we didn't talk about too, but we won't get into that deep, this late in the show, but this is our hobby. This is like, it's our collectibles, too.
It's what we do.
We collect this stuff. And I'm itching to buy another APA hockey season, even though I haven't played APA hockey in several months, just because I want to collect another season. I just do. And that's what we do. We get the itch to go and we work all week. Like I say, I'm working crazy hours right now. It's like I want to see some of the fruits of my labor. I might want to buy a new season. Wait for it to come in the mail, open it up, unbox it, ooh and ah over the cards, maybe play a quick game or so. That's what the hobby's all about. And I agree that to some people it's more of a value money type of situation, and that's fine too. And for other people, it's just, again, they're willing to spend what it takes to have a good time. And everybody has their favorite games, and I understand that. And you're willing to spend more money on something you enjoy rather than something you don't enjoy. So if you don't like Strat, for you it's a big waste of money.
Spend the money.
It's a big waste. So if you don't like APA, it's a big waste of money. If you don't like to play, it's a big waste of money, according to you. But for other people, they can't wait to go and buy something and enjoy it and have those moments. So anyway, should we wrap it up?
Let's do that.
Yeah, Living by the Numbers, episode 126 of the Digital to Dice podcast. We talked about price points today. What's your price point when it comes to a game or your gaming value? We'll have to come up with a fun topic name for the show here, but we want to talk about the cost of games. and what it's worth to you, I guess. So anyway, ways to get a hold of us. DigitalTodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. DigitalTodice@yahoo.com is our email, and over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digital2dice. Ron, thanks for joining me again. And by the way, nice job doing last week's show solo while I was at the rink.
You were busy. Yeah, you were busy.
Yeah, it was exciting. We had some overtime games in the whole bit, and they were tweeting out some of the calls that I made, and fun time. I get into it. I haven't really. There was one game that went to overtime, and I was just so into it. I was screaming and yelling, and it was just a fun time, and the crowd was going wild, and it was another fun moment there behind the microphone for me. But anyway, so
absolutely.
All right, so we will talk to everybody next week.
Bye-bye.
Gagne at the point, can't get it. Possible 2-on-1. Here comes Zito with Parent. Zito moving in. Zito shoots. He scores! Zito makes it 3-2 Cyclones on the 2-on-1.